Namaskar. Welcome to the event number 3, Progeny Prospects, under the chapter number 3, Study with Example Charts. Before going to study the progeny prospects with examples on many case studies in subsequent videos, I'm going to explain or discuss on the important points and rules on the destiny of the progeny and also some important points to be noted, and also for the timing of events also I have discussed many points and rules. This actually I have made into two parts so that the duration of the video will be in a nominal length. So, please watch both the videos, and that will be more useful. And the same rules and points, keeping in mind, discussed with many example charts in the subsequent videos. So now let us start with the general points. Progeny prospects, rules and important points. Part number 1, destiny rules and timing of birth. As I said, these rules and important points on progeny prospects will be given in two parts, and this is the part number 1. And both the parts, I'm going to explain with the slides, and I will be explaining on each point for your better clarity. And all these points, everything will be also be available on the study materials, which you can download and get it printed. So now let us go. Progeny prospects. General points. Before going to the destiny, let me tell you something on general points. What are the general points? In general, we look for the progeny after the marriage is conducted. But the relation between the childbirth and marriage, there is no such relationship. There is no relation between the childbirth and marriage. It is not that only after marriage only the childbirth is possible. Without marriage also child is possible, right? Progeny, pregnancy is possible, right? So it is not mandatory that one can give birth only after marriage. In Western countries or in other countries, a woman becomes mother even without getting married. It is happening in our country also, because this is nothing to do with the marriage and childbirth. Hence, we have to keep this in mind in finding the time of childbirth. So, as a general practice in our country, we have to look for the progeny prospect starting from the bugdi in which the marriage is conducted. It means once we find the destiny is promising in the birth chart of that native, we have to look for the pregnant progeny prospect starting from the bugdi in which the marriage is conducted. Suppose the native got married in Jupiter Dasa, Saturn Bugdi, and destiny is supportive for for the progeny, and Dasa Lord Jupiter also favorable, and Bugdi in which he got married. From that Bugdi, we have to start checking whether that Bugdi is supportive for progeny also, other than marriage, whether it is also supportive for progeny. So we have to start our progeny, study, from the bugdi in which the marriage is conducted. If that bugdi lord is a supportive planet, not needed to be a strong planet for the progeny when the destiny and dasa lord are favorable. If the bugdi is to be strong for the progeny when the dasa lord is having some weakness. When the book destiny and dasa both are favorable, the bugdi lord, if it is supportive planet, that is enough. The conception can take place in the supportive antra. So check if the dasa lord is favorable planet for the progeny, which is the source. If the bugdi lord, that is effect, is either supportive or strong, it will support for the conception in the favorable antra. That is result. This is the SER impact. This is applicable for, in general, it is applicable for all the events. Suppose the Salad is favorable, Bugdilad is supportive or favorable, then Antra Lord, it will, the favorable Antra will support for the for that event to get started. In case of this one, the conception in the favorable Antra, right? This is the SER, source, effect, result, impact. This is applicable for all the events. Now let us. General point 2. We have to understand that there are two phases in progeny. I was explaining on these two phases in marriage points when we are talking about the marriage prospects in the rules video also, because there are two phases in, especially in the progeny, that is conception and the delivery. Conception is one phase and delivery is another phase. They are the two events in progeny. We can say two events in progeny. It is having a fixed gestation period of approximately 9 months for human after the conception. So conception is one event. After 9 months of the duration, that delivery will happen. So both are important events. But we cannot expect both the events could take place in the best favorable period, because within this time interval, many subperiods would complete and new Bugdi or even new Dasa also would run at the time of delivery. I think you are able to understand. Dasa, Bugdi, Antra, in which the conception would have taken place, during the delivery, the Dasa also would have changed. Definitely Antra will change. Bugdi also can change. If the Bugdi is within 9 months duration, Bugdi is changing, then Bugdi will change, Andhra also will change, Dasa also sometime will change. But all the periods we cannot expect, all the period Dasa Bugdi periods will be signifying strong favorable significations. If the natives, all the planets are having favorable significations, then without any struggle, then any Dasa Bugdi Antra that may not signify unfavorable. So they can support for the event. But when few planets are having unfavorable, and if they are all influencing the other planet, so they will try to give troubles. But as the key planets, if they are supporting favorable, so they can also support for the particular event. So we cannot expect all the Dasa Bhukti Antra during the conception also, during the delivery also, they will be always strong. Hence, when the destiny and Dasa are favorable, the conception can take place in good Bhukti and supportive Antara period, or vice versa. And the delivery can either happen in a good period or in a supportive period within the fixed time frame of delivery. The supportive transit will further help in timing of delivery. If the Dasa, destiny and Dasa are favorable, both are strong favorable, then there will not be much issue, because both the master destiny also good, master Dasa also favorable, then the conception can take place in a good Bukti or supportive Bukti also. The only that Bukti Lord should have a good signification and also having the key planets of the Dasa Lord, right? So, and supportive Antra, I mean immediately after the marriage also the conception can take place in the supportive Bukti and supportive Antra, or and vice versa. But delivery also can either happen in the good period or in the supportive period within the fixed time frame of delivery. Because when the Dasa and destiny both are favorable, strongly favorable, so the Bugdi and Antra, even if it is supportive for the event, that is enough. Only thing is they should have the key planets, good key planets of the Dasa Lord or destiny planet ruling, and they should not be completely detrimental. So, but you can see that during that process, we have to, as an astrologer and guider, we have to check both the periods of these two phases, conception and delivery. If the period at the time of conception or delivery is signifying unfavorable significations to the child and also to the mother at the time of delivery, it is to be advised to the couple not to go for pregnancy in that period. So when conception taken place, when delivery is is expected, if you check the dasa bugdi antara of the conception and dasa bugdi antara of the expected delivery, if you feel that these periods are having some mixed significations or indicating unfavorable significations to the lagna of the child, that can be having supportive signification for the child pregnancy, but it can also indicate unfavorable houses to the lagna of the child. To the fifth house, it can give some health issues signifying houses, Maraga Badaga houses also, that planet in which that conception is taken place, or in during delivery also it can take place. So in that case, not only for the trouble giving houses to the fifth house, but also if it is indicating trouble giving houses to the mother at the time of delivery, it can give trouble to either to the mother or to the child or both. So it is to be advised advised to the couple not to go for pregnancy in that period, especially if the destiny is indicating such unfavorable significations, then such study is most important. If the destiny is not that much unfavorable, it is supportive, only some unfavorable signification causing obstacles and delay only, there is no issue. But if the destiny is indicating such trouble to the fifth house, and trouble to the fifth house means to the lagna of the child, and lagna also, mother also, it is indicating some problem, then we need to be careful. So such discussion also we have discussed in the example charts, but you have to keep this in mind when we are studying. These are the general points, we have to keep this in mind. I think we're able to understand. Now let us study the destiny. Destiny on progeny prospects, favorable and unfavorable houses. The favorable houses are fifth house is the primary house, and 2 and 11 are secondary, and supportive 1, 3, 7, 9. Unfavorable is 4, and primary unfavorable house is 4th house, and secondary unfavorable house is 6th house, 8th house, 10th house, and 12th house. For example, for the first child, we can see 5th house. For the second child, apart from that 5th house, we can take 7th house. For the third house, for a third child, we can say apart from the 5, we can take 9, because you can see 5th house is common house is for the child progeny, but the 7th house is indicating third house to the 5th house. It is improving the 5th house, so it is supportive for the more than a child. So whenever we are talking for the second child, we have to look for 5th house and also 7th house, not just 7. I think we're able to understand. And moreover, as I said already, for the other event marriage also, just a single house will not be unfavorable, only grouping are important. We must check the 5th rulers to find the destiny. 5th rulers means 5th cuspal lord and 5th cuspal star lord and 5th cuspal sublord. They are the rulers. Importantly, 5th cuspal lord and 5th cuspal sublord are to be studied. More importantly, the destiny planet 5th cuspal sublord is to be checked. And the Karaka planet, that is Jupiter, can also be checked for its strength and weakness. And the occupant of the 5th house can further favor or afflict the house matter with its favorable or unfavorable significations respectively. For any event, any planet is occupying that particular house, primary house, that house matters can be further supported by the occupant if the occupant is having favorable houses. If the occupant is having unfavorable houses to that house matter, it is going to give trouble or obstacles. Correct? Suppose that 5th house is talking about the progeny, the 5th house is occupied by a planet, that planet is having unfavorable houses to the 5th house, it is going to give further cause obstacles. Destiny also indicating some obstacles. 5th occupant also having obstacles, it is going to increase the obstacles. That to the planet, Karaga planet for the obstacle causing planet Saturn, Ketu, or occupying that fifth house, that can cause trouble, and also it can cause miscarriage and delay, and depending on the house significations. So these 3 points we have to keep it in mind. Then promise of progeny in the destiny. How to check the promise of the progeny? Either male or female. For both the male and female, fifth house represents progeny in general. It is not that for the male we have to check the 11th house for the progeny, because it is these fifth house to the 11th house. Keeping in mind that the seventh house is representing the wife, and she is going to deliver the baby, so that is fifth house to the seventh house is 11. No, though it is one way, it is correct, but please understand, fifth house is the house of progeny. So that is going to, even for the male also, we have to check only the fifth house. For the male or female, we have to check the fifth house. 11th house is indicating the progeny prospects of the spouse, either male or female, husband or wife. But fifth house in general is talking about the progeny in general, whether it is male or female, that you have to keep it in mind. Only in case of the horary, whenever that horary question also, if it is asked, about the wife, that male is asking, the husband is asking the progeny for the wife. Suppose when she is going to deliver a baby, or whether she is eligible to give a birth to a baby. So when the question is on the seventh house, then we have to check count from the seventh house, fifth house, not on the not just in general fifth house, not in general 11th house for the progeny for the male. So 11th house is definitely a favorable house to the progeny, but fifth house is an important primary house that you have to keep it in mind. To know the destiny and the progeny prospects, fifth cuspal rulers and the Karaka planet are to be studied, that we already discussed. The 11th cuspal sublord of the husband or wife will also indicate the destiny prospects of his or her spouse, because 11th cuspal sublord is talking about the fifth house counted from the seventh house. So that we have to check. I think we are able to understand. Now let us check the rules on the promise of the progeny in the destiny. First, if the fifth cuspal sublord signifies grouping of 2, 5, 11 houses, it promises progeny. If the grouping of 3, 7, 9 houses are also joining, they further support, because they are all supporting houses to this fifth house. The conception and delivery will take place during the favorable or supportive Dasa Bhuktī periods. I'm talking in general, but we will be discussing in detail in the next slides. If 7 and 9 houses are also strongly signified, fifth cuspal sublord, apart from that fifth house, 2, 5, 11, 7th house, 9th house are also strongly signified. It favors for more than a child. If Mercury or dual signs are also involved, it can favor for twins also, right? So I think you are able to understand these basic points. If grouping of unfavorable 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 houses are also present in the rulers, fifth cuspal sublord, in the star and sub of a planet, that rulers, if they are having these houses also, it indicates obstacles and hurdles in progeny. This can delay in pregnancy. It may need medical assistance also, depending on the significations. It means what? It is supportive for the progeny. Along with that, it is having such unfavorable obstacle causing houses also present. It indicates it can delay in pregnancy, and also it may need medical assistance for, and depending on the significations. So that we have to keep it in mind. And even, please note, even without the presence of fifth house or 11th house signified by a planet in its ruler, the presence of 1, 3, 2, 3, 7, 9 houses do support for the progeny. The 5, 11 houses can give their support by the supports also. For example, if you take Jupiter or Saturn is their fifth cuspal sublord. When you are studying fifth cuspal sublord planet, star lord planet and sublord planet, just I'm taking only the primary ruler, The star lord, if it is 2 or 5 or 11, sub lord is having 2 or 5 or 11 along with the 3 or 7, it is present, then it is stay away, it is indicating favorable. But sometimes the star lord and sub lord may not have the 11th house. Okay, it may not have 11th house, or it may not have 5th house also. Sometimes it may not have second house also straight. 2 or 5 or 11 may not be there in the star lord or sub lord in the rulers, in the self-signification. But instead of that, it can have second house is good, not a problem. It is a important house. Lagna there, and third house, seventh house, ninth house. Only these houses in the star and sub-level are indicated. There is no 5, there is no 11, and 2 also not present, or 2 is there only one level, or 2A level, or star lord or the sub-lord. Then the primary is having these houses. Then it is not indicating denial. I mean, it is not indicating absence of progeny. It is supportive to the 5th house, but presence of 5 and 11 or 2, 5, 11 are important. You can check these significators. The key planets with these significators may be in supports. Understand? Support planet means they may be in the Rasi Lord conjunction aspect, and if they are supporting to this planet, which are having these supportive houses. So we cannot expect 7th, 11th, 5th cuspal sublord in the star and sub of a planet, which is not significant 2 or 5 or 11. So we cannot say it is unfavorable. No, it is supportive, not very strong. But in the absence of the strong unfavorable, only these houses are present. Unfavorable houses are present, but favorable, these houses are strongly present. And these favorable good key planets are 5th house, 11th house grouping key planets are there in the supports and giving their supports by even with the key planets, or it's a free planet, but some good key planet will be there. 1 or 2 key planet will be strong significator of these houses, will be free planets. So their role as a ruler will be very limited. So they cannot act as the star lord. They can act only as the sublord. Sometimes they also may not be there in supports in sublord for other planets. So in that case, no, that presence of supportive key planets in the rulers having got favorable key planet in its supports also is supportive. That you have to keep it in mind. Okay. And another important note, though the 4th house is the unfavorable primary house for the progeny matters, it presents along with the other unfavorable houses, 6, 8, 10, 12, will make unfavorable. Without any of these houses, it will not be unfavorable. This I was telling in even for the marriage also, 6th house, even it is present, though 6 is unfavorable, weak to the 7th house, unless and otherwise it is connected to the unfavorable other houses, it will not be unfavorable. Similarly, 5th cuspal sublord in the star of a planet is talking about 6th house. It is having 6th house in the self-signification. Definitely, it is indicating some weakness, not supporting to the 5th house. But it is not having either any unfavorable houses. It is not present. It is indicating some weakness, but it is not unfavorable strongly. Instead of that, it is having favorable grouping, then it is going to support to that. So just with one house, we should not come to any conclusion. This is weak. I think you are able to understand this one. Now let us check the next rules. Childbirth, timing of events. We have studied the basic rule for the destiny, and now we are going to focus on the timing of event and childbirth, and also there are also some destiny points also will be discussed. Let me go one by one. Destiny, I mean, for the timing of event, we have to keep an important point. It is common for all the events, for the marriage also, for the childbirth also. Destiny key planets and their importance in Dasa period. That's what I told also. You can just watch that video on the destiny planets, their role, the key planets, the impact of the key planets in destiny planet, that I will given some separate video that you please go through that, and in the previous chapter. Destiny key planets and their importance in the Dasa periods. Suppose the destiny planet, that is 5th cuspal sublord is the destiny planet. 5th cuspal Lord and fifth cuspal sublord are the strong ruler of the fifth house. Out of that, fifth cuspal sublord is the destiny planet. Suppose the destiny planet is having unfavorable key planets in its rulers. The destiny is indicating weakness, that we are aware, right? Destiny key planet means destiny planet fifth cuspal sublord can have favorable key planet and unfavorable key planet. The destiny planet, that is fifth cuspal sublord, is supported by the favorable key planets for the event of progeny. They are called favorable destiny. They are destiny key planets. They are destiny key planets. Favorable destiny key planets. These are the planets which are afflicting or causing weakness to the fifth cuspal sublord through the unfavorable key planets. These unfavorable key planets are destiny unfavorable key planets. So destiny is further supported by which planets? Destiny is not supported by which planets? We have to keep it in mind. Suppose the destiny planet is having unfavorable key planets in its rulers. It is influenced by the unfavorable key planets. The destiny is indicating weakness or hurdles, right? Now, the role of these unfavorable key planets who are afflicting the destiny in the dasa or bukti as the primary rulers will make that period is weak for the progeny. This is applicable for all the events. Suppose fifth cuspal sublord is Saturn in the star of Mercury or sub of Mercury, Mercury having some unfavorable significations to the fifth house. It is having favorable key planets in the star level or other levels, and also getting support from the other key planets by way of ruler link, all these things. So unfavorable strength can be reduced. Still, the which planet is making the decision is weaker, that is Mercury. Favorable key planet is Saturn. Suppose Saturn is having good self-signification, Saturn, and other favorable key planets which are supporting to the Saturn. Suppose Jupiter is favorable key planet, Mercury is unfavorable key planet. Suppose Dasa Lord is, Dasa Lord is Venus is running. Suppose Venus Dasa, if you study the Venus rulers, Venus is having supportive signification apart from some obstacle causing houses for the destiny. If that Venus is having that Mercury in its rulers, Venus in the star of Mercury or sub of Mercury, primary rulers, if it is present, that Mercury who already afflicted the destiny, that itself is, ruling the Dasa Lord, its unfavorable strength will be more on the progeny. If they are ruling instead of the primary level, if they are ruling the secondary levels, to star lord or the star lord or fourth lord, then the impact will be there, but it is going to be comparatively lesser. Suppose if these planets are afflicting these Venus, Venus is not having Mercury is one of the ruler, but Mercury may be in the support of Venus or star lord and sublord. If that means that rulers are influenced by that unfavorable key planet, so that also will have impact. That impact is going to be secondary. It means what? The unfavorable key planet of the destiny, if it is afflicting the Dasa Lord, if it is directly as a ruler or indirectly a ruler or indirectly as a support, it will have the impact that we have to keep it in mind. The role of these unfavorable key planets who are afflicting the destiny planet in Dasa or Bukti as the primary rulers will make that period is weak for the progeny. Based on the role of favorable key planets and other support, the impact may vary. That you have to keep it in mind. Anyway, when I'm going to do the example studies in the example videos, then I will be using these rules and all, so then you will understand better. But you have to keep these points now in mind. A Dasa Lord with the favorable key piece, that is favorable key planets, but also with a strong unfavorable key P which afflicts the destiny planet in its rulers, can cause delay or obstacles for the progeny. So Dasa Lord is having both favorable and unfavorable key planets. It will obviously it is going to cause obstacles or delay in the progeny, especially that unfavorable key planet of the destiny. If it is present, the obstacles will be more. Depending on the signification, that impact level will be there. Whereas the Dasa Lord with mixed key planets having favorable key planet in its supports but without the role of unfavorable key planet, which afflicts the destiny planet, can favor for the progeny during the favorable bhukti with the medical assistance. It means what? A Dasa Lord is present. Thus, Dasa Lord, planet level, star level, sub level, when you study, all are having some supportive signification, but with obstacle causing houses, but not strong favorable key planets or directly ruling. So absence of strong favorable key planets, but it is having mixed key planets. So that way it is indicating mixed key planet. But if that planet, Dasa Lord, is having the favorable key planets in its supports, that mixed key planets will get the support of the favorable key planet. So the rulers are moderate or average significator with mixed significator can get strength from the support planets, which are favorable key planets. But in this, if the role of the unfavorable key planets, which is afflict in the destiny planet, it is not playing role. In the Dasa Lord, the unfavorable key planet Mercury is not playing role. So it means it is free from troubles. So that planet can have some mixed significations only, supportive with the mixed signification, but favorable key planets are in supports that can favor for the progeny, but with the medical assistance. Because that medical assistance is required because it is having some weakness in its rulers. So, and the destiny also can have some such problem, but the strong unfavorable key planet, which is, weakening the destiny, is not ruling. So the Dasa Lord is free from the role of the unfavorable key planet of the destiny, but having got favorable key planets in the supports also can favor. So that, that's what I was trying to say. Whereas the Dasa Lord with mixed key planets, having favorable key planets even in supports, but without the role of the unfavorable key planets, which afflicts the destiny planet, can favor for the progeny during the favorable bhukti with medical assistance. It means it can be treatment or some other medical assistance and all, depending on the necessity and the significations. I think you are able to understand. When the destiny and dasa are favorable without strong obstacles, the bhukti is also favorable for the progeny with the favorable key planets of the Dasa Lord, the conception can take place in supportive antra. As we discussed in the marriage also, the antra and sukshma, when we are talking for the event, that antra, if the Dasa and bhukti are favorable, strongly favorable, then bhukti, that the antra for the event to happen, antra, it is supportive, it is enough. Antra also can have some weak signification in rulers, but that is not a problem because that antra planet, it is having favorable key planet of the Dasa Lord, that is enough. It can execute the thing. It can have some weak signification. That weak signification will not be that much unfavorable for during that Antara period because the destiny and Dasa Lord are favorable already. You understand? Destiny, Dasa, and Bhukti also favorable. Antara, if it is supportive, is enough. You understand? So that is what I was telling in the marriage also. Destiny is good, Dasa also good, Bhukti also favorable, then Antara is supportive is enough. Correct? So the delivery can happen. This is for the conception, because I said no, conception can take place in the supportive antara. The delivery can happen in the favorable or supportive bhukti and antara during the projected period of delivery as per the gestation period. So that delivery period also can be a favorable or supportive bhukti and antara, because by the time the bhukti will change, antara will also be different. That those planets will have supportive signification, even it can have some obstacle causing significations also, but no other way, because within that gestation period the delivery has to happen. When the dasa and destiny are good, conception also taken place in a good bhukti, so the delivery can happen in a supportive bhukti or mixed bhukti, and also it is enough. When the bhukti is mixed, antara, if it is more favorable, it is well and good. That way it will be looking. Sometime antara also will be mixed, then sukshma will be favorable. So I think all depending on the strength of the destiny and also dasa period. Destiny is weak, dasa also having weakness. Then Buddhi and Antara should be in the favorable period. If it is not that, there will be hurdles and struggles in the pregnancy and also in delivery. I think we're able to understand. Childbirth, time of event, that continuation of the previous slide. So a planet who was not capable to favor for the conception can support for the delivery during its Buddhi or Antara. It means what? The Buddhi Lord should be a strong favorable planet. For example, if Dasa is good and or Dasa is having mixed significations, and definitely Buddhi Lord should be a strong planet for the conception. If the Buddhi Lord is having that unfavorable key planet in its ruler, especially that key planet of the destiny planet, if it is present, that Buddhi Lord will not favor. Correct? Suppose suppose Saturn planet we are checking as the Buddhi Lord. Jupiter Dasa, Saturn Buddhi we are checking. Saturn Buddhi, we are checking Saturn is having some weak key planet, unfavorable key planet. That unfavorable key planet that is of the destiny or the Jupiter. Jupiter's unfavorable key planet is, for example, Mercury. Jupiter is having Mercury. Dasa Lord Jupiter is having Mercury, which is having unfavorable signification for the progeny. If Saturn is also having that Mercury in its ruler, definitely Saturn will not favor for the conception during its Buddhi. So that Saturn is cannot be taken as the Buddhi in which that conception can take place. So the planet Saturn is not capable in favor of the conception, but can support for the delivery during its Buddhi or Antara period under favorable dasa or Buddhi. For example, in this case, I will tell you. Suppose Jupiter, Saturn is not favorable. Okay, then after that, Mercury is coming. Mercury itself is not favorable, so Mercury will not favorable. Next one is Ketu, the Buddhi is running. Ketu Buddhi is having favorable key planets of the Jupiter and destiny. It is also supportive. So Ketu is favorable for the conception. Okay, so when Ketu Buddhi in favorable, Buddhi, in that conception has to take place, right? In the Buddhi, in favorable, supportive Antara, conception also taken place, for example. Then delivery, during the delivery period, Ketu Buddhi would have been over. Duration is small period also. So according to the Antara in which it got conceived, definitely after 9 months period, Ketu Buddhi would have been over. Venus Buddhi will be running. Right? Jupiter Dasa, Ketu Buddhi conceived, Venus Buddhi is running. Suppose Venus Buddhi, when it is running, for the discussion only I'm talking about, because Venus Buddhi, Saturn Antara, it will be a long time. I'm trying to say that Saturn, which is not favorable for the taken as the Buddhi for the conception, it is not favored for the conception, but it can favor for the delivery. Suppose Saturn is falling, Saturn Antara period is falling for the delivery. Suppose within Ketu also, Ketu itself is conceived, for example. Then Saturn Antara is coming at the time of the 9-month duration is over. Saturn Antara is falling. Then Saturn Antara, which we have avoided, which we said that is not favorable for the pregnancy as the Buddhi Lord, but it can act as the Antara. It is having favorable signification, planet Saturn, and the star level is good. Sub-level having unfavorable Mercury, for example. So it will not favor for the conception. But that Saturn, now it is working under the Buddhi Lord, Ketu or Venus. If they are very good, they are having good key planets and they supported for the conception during the Buddhi, under that Saturn is capable to deliver because it is having favorable significations also. So that is what you have to keep it in mind. When the Buddhi is strong enough, the Antara Lord, if it is supportive, is enough. So that's what a planet who is not capable to favor for the conception can support for delivery during its Bugdi or Antara period under favorable Dasa or Bugdi period respectively. The role of favorable key planets, especially with the 5th house and 2nd or 11, will be favorable. It means that Antara period, for the event to happen Antara, it can have the 5th house or 2nd house or 11th house in itself significant. It means a good key planet, because when we are talking about key planets, without these houses, if other houses are present, they are also key planets only. But the key planet with these houses is strong enough to act as the Antara. That you have to keep it in mind. Hence, sometime an Antara which is mixed significator, but with the favorable key planet of the Bugdi Lord, will be ruling at the time of delivery. Right? The Antara period, which is a mixed significator, but is having favorable, also unfavorable key planet also can have. But with the favorable key planet of the Bugdi Lord will be ruling at the time of delivery. So the role of the favorable key planet with the 2nd house or 11th house in the ruler of the Bugdi and Antara will be more supportive for the conception and delivery. It means what? For the conception and delivery, for the Bugdi and Antara, if they're having the 2nd house, 11th house and 5th house are present, they're going to be more supportive. That's what I'm trying to say here. And supportive transit of the Jupiter and Dasa periods will also add support. So please note, in any of these above situation and circumstances, the role of favorable key planets of the destiny planet will be present even in the supportive or mixed Bugdi or Antara. This is the destiny planets favorable key planets. Destiny planet favorable key planet means destiny planet, that is 5th cuspal sublord itself is a good key planet, and other favorable key planet which are supporting to the destiny, their role, if it is present, definitely they will be present either in the directly as a ruler, if it is present, very good, or in supports also will be present. That will be more supportive for the periods, even if they are only mixed periods also. It means not very strong, but having got the support of the favorable key planets of the destiny planet in its rulers, I think you are able to understand. Because the problem is, the conception will take place on DBA. Delivery can happen in DBA, in one DBA. So we cannot expect all the rulers of these planets that Dasa Bugdi will be always strongly favorable. They will have connection within each other. It is built connection they will have by way of their key planets. But Bugdi Lord, which is not favorable for conception, can act as the delivery for the that Bugdi Lord can act as the Antara Lord for the another Bugdi. You understand? Dasa Lord, which may not be favorable for a conception due to the unfavorable, but for the delivery, during the delivery, if the Dasa Lord Antara only is running, if it is having favorable key planets also, especially the planet and star level, that is enough to execute the result. I think you're able to understand. This is commonly, it is common for many events, even for the sometime for the marriage also, and but for the other events also, this is common, this rule. The support of the transit of Jupiter in the natal 2, 5, 11 house. If you look at the natal chart, 2nd house, 5th house, 11th house, and that house, if Jupiter is transiting, in the transit of Jupiter in the natal 2nd, 5, 11 house, transit Jupiter is aspecting the natal 2nd house, 5th house, 11th house cusps, or their lords or natal moon, it will add support to the DBA periods of the progeny. It means Jupiter is either aspecting 2nd house, 5th house, 11th house. These are natal charts. Transit Jupiter aspecting natal 2nd house, 5th house, or 11th house, or 2nd lord, 5th lord, or 11th lord, or moon. If it is present, this is going to be a very good transit for the support of the progeny. Please understand, this such combination will happen once in 2 years. It will happen mostly. Just because of the transit, that event will not happen. Because whenever that there are mixed signification, mixed DB are running, such a favorable transit will add some supports. So that transit has to be taken as an additional tool, but definitely when the destiny is indicating some weakness, or even for the people who are having we are go for treatment, all this thing, support of the transit of the Jupiter also will add supports, more supports to the favorable strength. Unfavorable strength can be little reduced by the favorable transit. That we have to keep it in mind. For the people who are having strong destiny and dasa bhuktī are favorable, so whatever may be the transit, that can automatically will be supportive. But irrespective of the support of the transit, automatically the destiny and DB are favorable. It will happen without any issue. I think you are able to understand. So this one, with this, actually, I'm completing the part one of these rules and important points. In the next part, that is part number 2, other rules and other important points we will discuss. So we will meet in the next part. Good luck.